That's right there.
Okay, so,
So, yeah.
I'm the one with the Christmas tree.
Oh,
well,
you know, maybe getting
I
better
have the
soon.
art route, I have, yeah, yes. Some part.
Ready?
Yeah.
Candace, we ready?
I know. Rolling on.
Okay, the time is 6:08 and we just came out of closed session meeting today, July 29th, 2025, that was held at the Worcester County Government Center Room 1102, 1 West Market Street, Snow Hill, Maryland. The purpose and topics were to discuss Town of Snow Hill nominees and nominations for boards and commission openings, and discuss a personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals under general provisions, Articles 3-305B, number 1. To discuss the appointment, employment, assessment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of employees and appointees and over officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Members who voted to meet in the closed session include Councilmember Lupkins, Councilmember Fletcher, Councilmember Lee. All in attendance for the closed session were Mayor Simpson, Councilmember Lumpkins, Councilmember Fletcher, Councilmember Lee, Town Attorney Maureen Howarth, Town Manager Rick Pollock, Police Chief McGee, Administrator Coordinator Candace Ringaneri. Marvin Ames and Tina Busco were also present for some of the meeting. Topics actually discussed were Planning Commission Board appointment, Director of Julia A. Purnell Museum approval and appointment, other board nominations, and a personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Adjournment of the closed session took place at 6:07 p.m. All right, now I have a vote coming up for the Planning Commission. I am nominating Marvin Ames. I need a motion to promote or appoint Marvin Ames to the Planning Commission of Snow Hill.
I make a motion to appoint Marvin Ames to the Planning Commission of Snow Hill.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second from anyone? Mr. Lee? Do I have a second? I didn't hear your vote. Do I have a second? No? Councilperson Fletcher? Okay. Moving on. We have a director of Julia A. Purnell Museum, Tina Busco. I am nominating her to Furnace Town as director of Snow Hill. Do I have a motion to appoint Tina Busco?
I make a motion to appoint Tina Bosco to the head of the Purnell Museum.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Tina Busco is now the director of the Purnell Museum. All right, do I have comments from the public? Absolutely.
No, this is gonna be for this meeting or the work session. There's a number of people.
Okay.
So that's the
So
first
we can
meeting.
go ahead and start with these, or do we want to put them into session?
I think you can ask if the people wanted to comment on this meeting or topics that are, will be discussed later.
Okay, topics to Olga, the topics to be discussed in the work session.
I believe so.
Okay,
With regards to
so
docking.
we'll hold off on that.
Jordan, I read it pretty messy.
It looks like, yeah.
It's the same thing. for the
Same thing for the vote, okay. Jacob?
Yeah, same as well.
Same as well. Jenny? Jenny Donaway? Where are you? Do you want docking
Yes.
part? Who is this? Coven?
Colin,
Colin?
Colin McAllister, same
And
thing.
same thing, and Diana Nolte? Same thing, okay.
Excuse
All
me,
right,
I'm sorry, I didn't put my name on the document. Okay.
just add to it.
Sorry about that.
Okay, now mayor and council comments. We'll start with Mr. Lee. Do you have any comments?
You come to.
We actually have 3 meetings tonight. We have a special meeting of the mayor and council that started with a closed session. After the closed session, you're now in the open session of that meeting. When the mayor's business was the appointments. When that's completed and the folks have had a chance to speak, and then you and the mayor do your usual closing comments, then the special meeting will adjourn. Mayor will call the meeting to order to the work session. And we have the agenda for the work session.
So,
Right now, you're at the tail end of the special meeting.
the general, which one of these are the actions that not been done?
That's on August 12th. That's the second Tuesday of the month is our regular monthly meeting. This was a work session scheduled. But because of the nature of the issues on the agenda for the closed meeting, we added that to the regular work session night. So you've got 2 meetings. You've got an open meeting and then a work session. So right now you're getting near the end of the open meeting. After that adjourns, then you'll open the work session with the agenda that you have. Because it's pretty straightforward. It's all right there.
Okay, Mr. Lumpkins, do you have any comments?
I'm really excited about the new director for the Purnell Museum. I'm not, she's really gonna make that place more dynamic in the future.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
For more county engagement.
And Councilperson Fletcher, any comments?
I was excited to hear what the new director had to say.
Okay. All right, I am also very excited, for the new director and, getting the Purnell Museum, and I see some members, board members out there, they're smiling, so that we can get that up and going and get our friends of Purnell Museum, on board and have great, a future for our Purnell Museum. Okay, now I have a motion to end the, special session.
I make a motion to end the special session.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Adjourned. All right, now I'd like to call to order our work session for Mayor and Town Council, July 29th, 2025, for Worcester County Government Center, boardroom, room 1102. If you take a look at the agenda, in fact, and first, we have a new official on board, Mr. Dan Brandewee. I said that correctly, right? And we're very excited. He's our planning, zoning, and building official. So welcome. This Monday was your first day, and we're very happy to have you. So I'll go on to our first item on the agenda. We have draft ordinances dealing with state mandated legislation regarding zoning for mobile homes, and manufacturing housing. So there were some questions about that, but our attorney will go over. Will you please review that one more time for everybody?
Sure. So in 2024, the Maryland General Assembly passed House Bill 538. It went into effect January 1st, 2025. And it states local governments must permit certain new manufactured homes or modular homes in zones that allow single-family residential uses. So staff and myself, your previous planning and zoning director, Aaron, worked on this draft ordinance updating your town code. The first page is updating the definitions of manufactured home, mobile home, modular dwelling. Page 3, you have section 174(2), which says it shall be unlawful for any person to park or leave standing on any private property or to maintain or use as a place for human habitation, a house, trailer, trailer coach, or mobile home within the town of Snow Hill. They are allowed to be used for emergencies up to 6 months if they have the proper permits from the town and are connected to water sewer. Then really where the crux of the new ordinance is on page 4, which allows new manufactured homes, not old manufactured home, but brand new manufactured homes to be in your R1, R2, or R3 residential districts. They cannot be in the historic district. The state law requires, and we've repeated in the town code, is that the manufactured home has to be converted to real property in accordance with the real property article, has to be unapproved enclosed foundation. Exterior materials need to be substantially similar to those in the neighborhood, and they have to obtain all necessary permits. The modular dwellings very similarly are allowed in the R1 districts if, again, outside the historic district, installed on a permanent foundation and obtain all necessary permits. There's a definition of what new means. Make clear that all of these type of structures need to be hooked up to water and sewer, and again, obtain all necessary permits. Some general updating of various language. And then your finding section in this chapter was a fine of $25 if this was violated, and that was updated to $500. So as we talked about in the first reading, this was done based on the change in state law.
So it's really about affordable housing opportunities, a little more for our community from the state law as far
I
as
think
adding a couple
I
things.
think that
Or
was the state intent.
the state's intent. Okay, so it's about affordable housing. What is the P, in this chart, what's the PDD?
So. Hold on, let me look it up. I always want to say plan overlay district, but that's not right here. So that's the second ordinance there is where we had to go into your chart. And we had to add the new manufactured home or new modular dwelling. I highlighted it in yellow so you could see it, and the P is for permitted, so then it shows as permitted in your R1, your R2, and your R3.
Okay,
Not in the PDD, but I can look that up.
okay, thanks. Okay, now is council's time to ask questions about this, because we had some concerns on the last, although this has just become state law in January. So this is Snow Hill's addition to our code. Councilperson Lee, do you have any questions? Councilperson Lumpkin?
No,
Any questions now?
No, my understanding is that you just can't blanketly deny the modular homes or mobile homes. But since
Mobile home is not a term we use anymore because mobile home means like something before 1974, 1976, and those aren't approved by HUD anymore, so you have to use the term manufactured. Dan probably knows that very well, but. So it's manufactured, and then modulars are like the factory built stick homes
Okay.
that are allowed anyways.
Since the town's 80% the historic district. I feel good about
Okay. Councilperson Fletcher, you had some at the last meeting question.
No, I hadn't read it.
You hadn't read it, so did you read it this time?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so
Understanding.
do you have any questions now?
No, I was just asking her, but she's looking up the.
PDD, the Plan Development District.
And what would that entail?
That is an overlay. And Lori's agreeing with it's overlay. It's actually the one that you're using for the local bed and breakfast for the redevelopment of that bed and breakfast. So it's an overlay on top.
Okay. All right, I understand that. That makes sense. I didn't know what it stood for. Any other questions on that? from anybody. Good?
Good.
Good? Good?
Are you guys okay to move it to first readings?
I'll vote for that.
First reading? You be good?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Lee, first reading? Okay, we're good. Okay, let's move on to number 2. We're still, discussing docking policies for town docks. And if you look in your packets, we have some memorandums from Melissa McAllister, our Director of Economic Development. And we have some pictures there, but you have a video you would like to show us and talk to us about.
Well, I did.
It's not coming up.
It appears that the whiteboard does not have the actual PowerPoint app. So we're working off of a PDF version.
Okay.
I'd still like to go through the presentation if that's okay.
That's okay. We just need, what we're trying to do here is to gather all the information that we can from all sources. And we really appreciate all of you coming to give your opinions also. And then we haven't voted on anything. We're just discussing and then we'll go from there. Okay? All right. You got the floor.
Do we have a mouse?
No, but you have me.
Oh, thanks, Candace. So just a brief introduction to kind of preface this. We started out with a recommendation from the Fees and Fines Committee that recognized the liability, the maintenance, and the use issues that result from long-term docked boats. A lot of that conversation was specifically around Sturgis parks. Once those recommendations were made public, we had we were approached by some residents, and there was a resident-led committee formed to assess policy updates and make recommendations to the mayor and council. As part of that committee, I participated in one of their meetings. Director Barfield did a site visit, and those were 2 separate engagements with this docking committee. But both of us walked away from those meetings with an understanding that the recommendation would be long-term docking at Bird Park, and then like daily docking at Sturgis Park. I was not here to discuss or defend the recommendations at the last meeting. So I do appreciate you guys giving me the time for that. So I wanted to start off with just a look at our planning documents. I think an understanding of the importance of the river as Snow Hill's identity is a very important element to be, thought about as we're discussing this. Our comprehensive plan identifies the downtown and riverfront areas as being discussed as residents' favorite part of the town during their community forums. And just something else I wanted to highlight is also from our strategic revitalization plan, new development and activities on the riverfront will result in more people living and working in town, and more activities to celebrate our heritage and beautify the town will take hold. As such, all of our planning documents go into great lengths about the preservation, protection, promotion, and use of the riverfront. So I do apologize, this is a lot of writing, but all of our planning documents very much emphasize the river. So this is not in any way a comprehensive list of all the times that the riverfront is mentioned within our planning documents. However, these are just some highlighted pieces. Outdoor recreation is really our brand and our image. And a strong, attractive, vibrant downtown and town as a whole is tied to the opportunities that the river presents. So promoting recreation, we have an entire nature and heritage tourism assessment dedicated to the way that we are promoting this outdoor recreation. And just some highlights here, this effort, I'll start from the beginning, in fact. For 4 decades, the town has been touting the Pocomoke River as one of the most beautiful and unspoiled places on the East Coast. This effort has paid dividends by putting Snow Hill on the map of nature and recreation enthusiasts in the Mid-Atlantic region. And our comp plan public access to the Pocomoke River. Likewise, event programming is a huge component of promotion, celebration, and use. It is an event venue. That's where all of our events are held, at least the vast majority of them. Both parks are rented out for public and private events, which result in free advertising, from other organizations, and builds enthusiasm and recognition for Pocomoke River, but also for the town. So again, our planning documents go through, all the ways that these riverfront parks are utilized as event venues and places for community gathering. And there's a strong emphasis on Sturgis Park as the town square of Snow Hill, a central gathering place for downtown civic events, active and passive recreation, and access to nature along the Pocomoke River. So what do our plans say about the parks? Our comp plan identifies that Bird Park is one of the most beautiful amenities in Snow Hill, but it is underutilized and undervalued. That's a problem. Utilizing this park for long-term boat docking begins to bring attention and care back to this park. It also creates 2 distinct destinations, right? So when we're talking about connectivity, which is also a big component within all of our planning documents, you are emphasizing 2 destinations that then creates a stronger need or grant application, as it may result, to connect the 2 places. Sturgis Park, our comp plan recommends generating uses that foster river use activities. And our Sturgis Park Master Plan points out that unlike other parks in Snow Hill, Sturgis Memorial Park is front and center to the daily lives of citizens and workers. So clearly the concern here is long-term docking at Sturgis Park. So what do our planning documents say? First and foremost, that the riverfront at Sturgis Memorial should become the focus of the town's destination-making improvements. It has great potential to drive and sustain downtown vitality, but it requires improvements and programming that allows active use of the open space. Further, 4-season year-round activities that appeal to children of all ages are especially needed, such as outdoor water play fountains, unique playgrounds, playground equipment, ice skating, skateboarding, and access to the water. It is the hope of the plan that Sturgis Park will soon be considered less as passive open space and more as an active downtown riverfront destination. You all know about Bank Street. The culminance of that will be Sturgis Park. And there are certainly, we have a Sturgis Park master plan, some great ideas to really revive that park and to do just this. Part of that is the continual hosting of events and the growth of those events. Instead, what we have right now, there's some maintenance issues for sure, especially when we're looking at the bulkhead. And right now, even with just 2 boats, it looks a lot like a boatyard. There is electrical, plugged in, big yellow wires. There's ropes, there's buffers between the bulkhead and the boats. These were videos, as I mentioned earlier. Unfortunately, we cannot access the videos But you can see just from this picture, the sloping that's occurring on the boards. The boardwalk here, Director Barfield, and our former interim code enforcement officer, Kevin Brown, is actually here as well. To go into more detail about the condition of that bulkhead. But what you can see when you walk down there, and I'm again really sorry the video is not working, is that exactly where these boats are docked and tied to this bulkhead is where you're seeing the most slope. Now, the entire boards, the entire length is sloping, but particularly where these boats are docked. This is only 2 boats. What kind of spurred this conversation? We had 5 boats that were permitted last season. And of course, there are 3 proposed this season. Or I'm sorry, to move forward in the ordinance. The sloping of the boards indicates that there is erosion behind the bulkhead, which also brings into some concern the structural integrity of the retaining wall there as well. And of course, as I've mentioned before, it impedes use for events and viewing, as well as potential day docking. So I know that this picture at the bottom here is in the report from last meeting. But I just wanted to point out, there is no growth potential right here. With these boats, you cannot see past those boats. So when you have the Rock Festival, when you have the canoe jousting, the different events, you can't really see past those boats. And that's actually what this video was. When you're sitting at the benches that are in the parks, you're getting a view of the boats. You're not getting a view of the river. But similarly for events, we can't move to, I guess that would be the southern end of Sturgis Park, because the boardwalk does not continue there. There's all the vegetation. It's not really a usable space. So to not have the area on what I'm calling the northern end of my directions, correct, Randy? I hope so. But to not have the ability to expand that event, all events are essentially limited to use of the pavilion. I will say it was a little bit more problematic, from what I had understood, during canoe jousting, because the current was carrying the jousters closer to the boats. So, in that particular instance, I don't think that it was impossible to see from the pavilion. But certainly had the current been stronger, there could have been some additional issues. So just to repeat, the staff docking recommendations, and I'll mention here, these recommendations are not mine alone. This is coming from the Fees and Fines Committee, which is across multiple departments. But just to repeat the staff recommendations, to promote the Pocomoke River as a premier asset that it is, encouraging appropriate use along the entire riverfront, designating specific areas for specific uses that align with our town planning documents. In other words, optimal use. So that way we are making sure that these parks are being used to their greatest capacity. The second one is to discuss with the Pocomoke River Canoe Company impacts of long-term docking at Gateway Park. I did not address Gateway Park docking in these recommendations, but I think that it is certainly worth the conversation since they do operate a business right there on the riverfront, to see how any policy decisions may impact their business. And then to allow day docking only at Sturgis Park. Weekly docking, as it was discussed in the last meeting, does not prohibit a renewal of that weekly rental. In other words, it would be continual long-term use. And it also increases the administrative burden to have the rental renewals. Instead, allow overnight and long-term docking at Bird Park. And do not allow long-term unattended docking or vessel storage at all I will also say that that does not prohibit somebody who has a rental slip at Bird Park to then move their boat to Sturgis Park for the day. I know that there was some discussion about the ability to walk from Bird Park to Sturgis Park. So nothing would prohibit that boat from, utilizing the Sturgis Park daily. And then to conduct a cost analysis to determine appropriate fees. And that is the end of that.
Garfield, do you have anything to add to that right now, or?
Oh, yes, back in, it was 2021, and that, when Gillis and Gilbertson came here, and they were doing the area where the Black Eye Susan was. They ended up fixing, 2 spots there of that bulkhead that was bad, and they pointed out some other spots on down the town that had the money to fix them. And they are the spots that, when I met the committee down there, that they also saw Kevin and Mr. Matthews and, the other gentleman, on Market Church. I know his name. Yeah, Mr. Phillips. And, matter of fact, Mr. Phillips got in there with Kevin and they were looking at him. And they were concerned about him as well. But there are other places other than just in that area where those boats are, that needs to be repaired as well.
Those other areas.
And, we all went down to Bird Park and I was under the impression with everybody that was there from the committee and all, they all agreed that Bird Park was the better place for the docking. On kind of bulkhead purposes and everything else. Sturgis Park needs the bulkhead fixed. And the more that's pulling and hauling down there on it and everything, and the water going back, whatever, is making it worse. So. I know the town will have the money now to fix it. Or whatever, and they've been trying, back when Dave Burke was grant guy, trying to get money then.
Through grants.
Yeah, that's been 3 people ago or whatever. It's just hard to get, get the money.
Anything else? Good? Okay. All right, council, do you have any questions? Mr. Callister or Mr. Barfield?
I don't have any question. Well, I have one for Randy. Randy, what is that bulkhead that Sturgis actually constructed?
It looks like, to me, it's just regular wood slats they got there going behind it, then the dirt is behind it itself, and once the wood itself is gone.
Yeah.
And Kevin can speak on that more, if he's gonna speak tonight, I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh.
He can tell you exactly, because we looked at it a couple different times,
Okay.
and I was there when Gillis and Gilbertson was there, it was the same way on that end.
That's-
And of course, I'll tell you why, we replaced all of the decking on top. On the side where, all the pilings are, the top deck board, the, 2 by 10,
Mhm.
we replaced that. We replaced all of the stringers for 100 feet and then all of the deck boards on top. After they fixed the one place there that was,
It's made out of wood.
yes,
Okay.
and it was sinking, and you could see the big sinkhole that was there by the pump out station. That's where we really originally saw it.
What's the lifespan of a wooden bulkhead? Because they don't last 100 years.
No,
They last 15 to 20. When was this put in?
oh God, man, it's been a many years ago.
96.
96.
So it's reached the end of its structural life.
Absolutely.
Those 2 boats being tied there made no difference, in my opinion, at all. The power of the river and wave action is what washes out a bulkhead. Also, day use only. Who lives south of this town on this river? Nobody almost until you get to Pocomo. It's 2 hours to get out to the Tangier Sound. It'd be 3 hours to get up to Crisfield. You ever driven 6 hours somewhere for some shrimp and grits?
I would-
No, you wouldn't. So day use, no, I've listened to you. You can listen to me now. Thank you. So day use makes absolutely no sense to me. We are a destination. We're not a day trip. People that have boats, big boats, have deep pockets too. I think as a town, we can't really afford to run them off. You want to do long-term docking, unattended docking at birth, that's my vote. Weekly docking, well, I vote. Okay? Will be done as urgent. In no way did those, because I sat at that canoe jousting for 3 hours, and in no way did those boats interrupt my view, or really anybody else's. This is just a fictitious argument. Mr. Lee, you have anything?
Yeah. I concur with what my colleague has said. But I want to find a middle ground. I appreciate the work that has been done, the planning has been done. That section of the city, town. I have two questions. I have a question. I talked to some people who were on the committee that was appointed, a committee appointed to study. The mayor appointed a committee studying this whole issue of docking. I don't know that much about it. I know more about it now, and I care to know about it, but nevertheless, I tried to find out what was. And my question to the people on the committee that was appointed, had they seen the report? And anybody from the town come to them to follow up, to ask questions before we reach the conclusion? I'm gonna tell you what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that it's a one-way street conversation coming back. Here's what we want to do. Why not take this report that has come back, has been prepared, and it's a biased report, but that's okay, because it's from a person's point of view. So there's nothing wrong with that type of bias. You don't ask me to vote on that when there's another side to this argument on the conclusion that you make. Let's look at that. The river, everybody in this room knows that's our list. Everybody in this room. Can that valued asset have more than one use? And if anybody says it can't, then it's the same thing that I'm going to be looking at and am looking at now. The river. I've been for years on the other side of that argument. There's two things that I know that we've got to do here in Snow Hill. We've got to promote and use that river. We got to get businesses in town. Or anything showing that. That's the deal. You can go wherever you want to go. So my recommendation to my colleagues is to have this report sent back to the committee that was formed, that you voted to form, and let them look at it and come back with some recommendations that we can compromise on to move forward. I'm not going to vote for or against until I look at it in that perspective. I want to see the best of what we can do for Snow Hill, not some individuals. This is my thing. So my recommendation, council, would be to give this report back to the committee that we appointed, have them look at it and find where we can come to consensus in moving forward.
If I may, Mayor.
Sure.
Say something. As far as in the report itself with the fees and fines committee, you met with the committee that they had, correct? I don't remember the date that you met with them, but it was a few weeks before I did, which was the same ones that I met. When I met with them, we listened to everything. We've been back to fees and fine meeting again. And we listened to what all of their suggestions were and all of that. We took all that in consideration when we said as far as the long-term docking, overnight docking, or any of that, when it was at Sturgis. The committee that they had told her separately and me separately at the time, these are the conditions of the bulkhead and stuff like that. It's not that we just took and ignored everything that everybody has said before or anything. And we wouldn't do that. But we will take it back again. And we will take and see whatever we can take and do, what's the issues, so we can accommodate whatever the majority wants to do. But we did take, and we didn't just take and ignore it. Well, I know I did not on my part, and I know Lori didn't on hers. But we will take and do that.
There were brought to me, understand, the people in the audience, which you understand, I don't know nothing about this. Here are some of the questions that were brought to me that I can't answer, okay? The recommendations of how the fines were reached together and their recommendation. Their recommendation was flat fees, as I understand it. In this report, it talks about they were concerned about, we talked, their recommendations that was made, boats over 30 feet, boat under 30 feet, come back to the report and look at it. In the end, it's only bigger boats, the whole slip question, whether you get up over a certain size, you have to have 2 slips or 30. See, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about all this stuff, folks. I'm not a boat.
Right.
So I'm not taking no sides
Right.
with whoever. I'm saying if there are issues with this, put the 2 committees together, sit down, find a solution to it, and we can come back and address the community and say, we voted for this in some kind of order that represents consensus. That's all I'm
Right.
looking for.
Remember when we had a meeting one night, Mr. Phillips gave a presentation in here. And he was the one that was talking about where they'd been to, like in Hancock, Chrisfield, all these different places. And they went on the size of the boats they had, and we went on size of the area we had and all that stuff there. That's where they come up with 30 foot. We based our docking, what we did, because I met Aaron, Councilman Aaron, right down there to the dock at Bird Park, and then we went to Sturgis, and then we went out to the other one. That's where we come up with the 30 foot, or if it's a bigger boat than that, and have to use 2 slips. And that's how that all came about.
I say this to my colleagues. What I am saying to you, colleagues, is that I shared this in doing my research with people on that committee directly, because I want to know what the deal is. They have a problem with what's here. They have a problem with that. Most of it, I do believe, has been resolved, but I asked them, it's the same question that I thought was in fairness. Before this committee or before our people made a recommendation, it would seem like to me, and they agreed, they would come back, which was their anticipation, and discuss it with them before you flush it out. And I think what has happened has been sent back to us and hasn't been flushed out with them. So I think that you need to take it back, flush it out with them, get the compromise, and then bring it back.
Okay, Councilperson Fletcher, we haven't heard from you. Do you have any
I
recommendations or any questions?
have a question mainly about, Candace, can you stroll back to the Sturgis part? No, yeah, go up one, I think. Yeah, keep going. And right there, when you can see the 3 boats there. For Randy, when I went out there to look, I don't know nothing about a slip but I looked. Couldn't it be a way that it could be compromised that those boats that are closer to the pavilion be asked to park closer down towards the land trust. Is
We don't have,
it a slip
to answer
there?
your question,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, because I
you
don't know
got
about
those two
this.
boats there, they have water and electric in both of them. There's one more area that's got water and electric. If the town's gonna charge for water and electric, they got to be able to get the water and electric. When you get down towards land trust, okay,
Yeah.
Councilman Lumpkin,
There's no-
it is a place there they can dock, but they don't have water and electric. They only got electric.
Didn't know that.
And the other, up on the other side of them is another two places that's got electric but no water. So that's why when I was there with Councilman Lumpkin, we came up 3 spots.
Okay.
And the 30-foot distance and all of that.
Okay.
And I just want to remind you, at your last work session, you wanted to have designated spots because you wanted the docking agreements to be like, yours is slip 4, so
Right.
the slips we're gonna have assigned. So to be able to figure out how many slips you had to come up with a distance.
Distance, that's
So
why.
your staff went out there and said, okay, you've got, I don't remember the numbers, but you got 3 here, 3 here, and 2 here. This is what each of those slips have, and they're all based on 30-foot. So I hear you, Mr. Lee, because some of the packet did have a 30-foot and over 30-foot prices. And I actually asked staff about it when they had me working on the ordinance because it was in our previous packet. But, to have assigned slips and to have 3 slips, you've got 30 feet.
You got 30 feet for each.
If you're going to allow bigger boats, then you're gonna have 2 slips. And that's a judgment call for you all, but staff went and tried to maximize the number of slips that you could have.
It's 4 bird, 3 Sturgis, 2 a gateway.
Did you?
And we made it clear in one of the meetings that we had,
Yeah. The last.
that at
meeting.
gateway, they would have to allow 2 to 4 hours to get the bridge open for the bigger boats to get in or out.
Right.
I mean, some of this might not have been exactly clear to everybody, but for the most part, a lot of this has been discussed in our meetings.
Yes, the last meeting, we looked at Larissa's report, we looked at the mayor's, Port of Snow Hill report from the committee. And, there were decisions that were made from them, both of them together. And we sent out staff, we sent out things, and, you went with for the week. And we talked about numbering them and having organization with them. And that's the information with the last meeting that we gave to, Attorney Howarth, to come up with a dock rental agreement
Mhm.
that you have in your packet. And, an ordinance also.
Yep.
And so council, was given this information and asked to read it and to decide, if any of this, was, correct, if this was needed to be changed in any way. And that's what we need to make some more decisions this evening on that, if it's possible. When you look at the previous, also in the packet is the old application and the old fees. So we can compare them with what we want to do now, because when you look at the fees from what we used to do, it was $250 for a whole year. And these fees have probably been in effect for 20 years or more, so.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, no, I know I'm right. When the committee presented theirs, they even gave the areas from Hancock, Chrisfield, Salisbury, other places, those wherever, of what theirs were. I mean, that was in a regular meeting here.
Right,
So it's nothing that's been held,
and it's in our
yes, it
packet.
is. It's nothing that's been held back.
No, there's nothing that has not been,
But I thought we
discussed.
agreed on, I thought we compromised on the rates that
we did,
that committee had made
yeah, we
to
did.
go along with those
and-
We
rates.
did. And if you look at those rates, are you looking at those rates, Margaret,
I'm
now?
looking at these from the
We,
committee.
we did compromise on them. They're listed, there. So, if if anyone has questions about what is that, Attorney Howard has.
But the only
Give
thing
them
I
to us.
don't
What do you-
see that.
do you
Some
think
of
something-
it, much of what's in this report, as you were saying, has been discussed at this table.
Right,
And you're absolutely correct.
yeah.
But to finalize and go forward with this with the outstanding questions, substantive questions in my judgment, that the people who have the knowledge in this, not just from a single point of view, but a global point of view, in terms of the particulars and specifics of it, I think we want to be certain. I want to be certain that we're doing the right thing in legislating. That's
And
what I want to be certain.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that the committee spent months traveling to other places, other marinas, getting information, and they supplied all of that information in their reports so that the council could take that information and make a decision like Councilperson Fletcher talked about compromising and looking over what we've done in the past, what they're recommending and what staff is recommending. And the staff with the Fines and Fees Committee have worked months and months on their research also.
I just want to point out in the committee's report on page 4 is where they have their recommended rate.
Yes,
And
that's,
that's-
I see a difference.
I
in
saw
the
Miss
first two.
Fletcher, and what I did since staff told me we had 30-foot slips, I just took their first chart for their rates for boats 30 feet and over, and I used those as your rates in your ordinance.
Okay.
If you want it to be the recommended rates from the committee for boats 30 and under, and that's what you want to adopt, that is totally your prerogative. I put a placeholder in there for you based on the rates the committee gave you for boats 30 foot and over.
And I saw that, I discussed that with them, those whom I talked with on that. So, you know, I don't believe really that we're that far apart. I really don't. I don't believe we're that far apart. But I think it would be a tremendous mistake for both committees not to sit down together, work this out. I think it would be good for the town. It would be good for us to know that we asked somebody to do something. We asked that committee to put in their time, talent, and energy, and they did. And then for us to set up here and vote on something that's, you know, that they are opposed, that they don't like, or they feel is wrong, I think that we are. I don't want to do that. And therefore, I'm going to recommend that it's in order and make a motion that this report go back to the committee that was appointed and sit down collectively with our team and their team. And come back, and you're gonna find that you're not that far apart.
Well, I think.
I so moved.
I think, what we have here is the attorney taking all of the things that we said from what we read and, put it into writing. And tonight was to take a look at that. And we can certainly go back and talk also with the committee once we've made these types of decisions. What we need to do tonight is to take a look at this. Are there any things here that was taken from the last meeting that we talked about? And are there any corrections that you see need to be done here? And then we can sit down with, if we want to do that, if we can sit down with the committee. The committee gave us a summary and said to us, our directions were, this is what we've done. We have presented what we have found, our findings, and we're handing it over to the council. But if council wants to meet with them again, that's fine. But what we have in front of us tonight is something that we need to
That is, Mayor, that is.
talk to, no.
Mayor.
No, just hold on a minute. They handed it over to us to make some decisions. What we have in our packet is what we talked about at the last meeting. And so if there are things that are written in this document right now that we need to change, we need to say that tonight. That's what this work session is all about. Then if council says, we would like to meet with the committee again and compare our documents, compare our prices, but we also need to look at staff's input in all of this. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Yes.
Mayor, I think it would be an error for us to sit here tonight and say yes to anything, understanding the position that if it's agreeable that I have taken and presented and recommended. Because we don't want to sit here tonight and say yes to something that we're asking both committees to come back to the table to negotiate, and then we made another mistake. That just doesn't make common sense.
Well, this is the input that was given to the attorney at the last meeting.
That's the last meeting. This is the meeting where the decisions are being made. And if we want to resolve this issue, send both of the committees back to the room, take a key, lock them in, and bring us something out of it that represents what both want.
We've been working on this for,
We've been working on
6
everything,
months.
Mayor. For I don't know how long.
we've been working on it for 6 months, and you want to extend that time.
Yes,
It
yeah.
it would not take too long if you get these things in your packets, you need to read through them and you need to say, I agree with this, or I don't agree with this. And then if you want to go back to the committee and say, this is what we came up with, that's fine. But these are the decisions that you made at the last time. If you don't like them, then you need to say number 10 needs to be changed. Number 11 needs to be changed. I just don't understand why we can't make corrections. And then if you want to meet with them again and you want to spend that time going back over it with them, that's fine.
My recommendation to my colleagues is that we not meet with them. My pure recommendation is to send both reports back to the committees, let them sit down in a closed room or however they do it, work it out and bring a report back that both of them agree with.
I don't have a problem with that, except you have in front of you what you determined at the last meeting. Are there any corrections to this or any additions to this?
Mayor, respectfully, I'm not gonna make any recommendations to what's on the table at this point until that committee comes back, presents it to us, and then we make the final decision. And what would be happening then, would we either accept or reject it? I'm sure we're gonna
Mr. Lee,
accept.
I agree with you. I agree with you. You're fine. The only thing is that they've always presented to us. They've already presented what the information they got. So if council, any other council says we need to add something or subtract from this, go ahead.
All right, so in the doctrinal application where it says 30 feet, if over 30 feet, must rent 2 adjacent slips, it should just be 1 adjacent slip.
It's meant to be 2 total, but if you guys think that's not clear, we can
Okay.
say whatever way you want.
Well,
Okay.
how do you want to say it? If
One adjacent
over
slip.
30 feet must rent.
Yeah, so it sounds like they have to rent the one to the left and to the right, it's like 2 adjacent ones, not just the next adjacent one.
We can say next, that might be
Next.
better than saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
There you go.
Thank you.
okay,
All right.
all right.
And then
Any other?
I think that the rate should include the 30 foot and under and 30 foot and over class.
What page is that?
This, page 2 of the ordinance, amend chapter entitled penalties and fees.
Okay. And that's the last page. So what do you want to add?
I think because this is just, the 30 and over, I want to add the 30 and under.
So basically what I did is, because you're only having, you have 30 foot, your foots are 30
The
foot.
foot, yeah,
So this is like the rate for a slip. And the
yeah,
boats happen to be 30 foot and under. So if someone's renting 2 slips, it's basically double.
Mhm.
If you want to pick the lower rate structure from the 30 foot and under to be your slip rate, But right now, you're not dividing it by 30 feet. You have 30-foot slips. It
Okay.
doesn't, it's whatever boat fits in there.
30-foot slip.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you guys
So you're
want to
still
use
picking
the
up the
lower,
same water.
yeah, if you want to use the lower tier that the committee recommended, we can do that.
I might want to use the lower tier just because ICS is more of a destination.
And that was
And I
on
want to
page,
make us more attractive. And I don't want the fees to seem cheap.
that was page 4 of their report, if you want to see it. The lower numbers.
On their report,
Yeah. So you'll see I took the first chart, but if you wanted to take the second, that's an easy replacement.
what do
That's
you
what I
think?
like to say.
This way, okay. All right,
So
what do
you took the top one.
Yeah, I use this one. But we can use this one if the council wants to.
So should you? Okay. So what number are you?
So you can look at them side by side.
So what's the difference in the numbers? Like, for example, the first one's 850, it would be 650 instead. Okay. Do you agree with the change?
Of the whole chart.
No, just whatever, yeah. Do you want to change any of those numbers?
And I don't know
No, what I was just looking at here, we don't have anything on here about water. It has in the document, the agreement about water, but we're not charging. for
That's an open
it.
question I had for staff that was still outstanding about whether that was something we charged for. So like I sent these all in draft to staff met about this week. They haven't had a chance to give me feedback on other things, but water was one of the things I asked for clarity.
Did you talk about that in fines and fees?
Yes, we will talk about it. Yes, we will.
You will. Okay,
I mean, I can tell you right now what I think, but that's, we'll talk about in fees and all this.
okay, okay. So we have additional information to add to
We have to
this,
clarify the water for sure.
the water, okay. Any other additions?
I'm good.
Good? Okay,
How does Ms. Fletcher feel about the rates? Do you guys want me to switch
Yeah.
them before it goes to fees and fines and your community committee?
yes. Do you want to give some input on those rates? Are you ready to do that now?
Just like, they're the same, they just changed. I mean, they're the same from here.
All the rates, Mayor, that is going back to the committee, I would ask them to clearly define where's the difference between the rates that they have recommended, and I believe the staff has, what's the difference between a flat rate? Make it clear so we understand what's the difference between a flat rate like they're going down, down the word, place down there. Yeah, public landing. I didn't understand that clear. So make it, what's the difference if we charge a flat rate? And I know we discussed it before, I understand that, but I'm gonna tell you straight up, the ones that I talked to were recommending a flat rate, and I'm not sure why they were doing it. I really don't. I know I'm not gonna kid you, but it raised enough questions for me based on what we talked about before, that I think is something we need, they're going back to the table. Maybe we consider that for information for us, for me.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see what they have to say, because we did take what they put in their
Mhm.
report, so if they were sort of having
Absolutely.
other thoughts, they have to share that with staff.
Yeah, they do.
So then that's probably, well, that would have something to do with probably the season or the all season and the simply yearly rate. So that's what the question will be for that, their rates and season versus a flat.
Okay, so once we're good where we are right now. Okay. And, we'll get water rates from fines and fees. And then we'll have a conversation with the Board of Snow Hill Committee. All right. Okay, now, we need to go to, the signage and, let's take a look at the sign that we have in our packets and talk about signs that have been proposed, for our parks. And the, prohibiting of certain actions. Swimming, let's talk about swimming. That seems to be the hot topic today. So, council, can you talk about, any concerns you have?
I started off, I've had some people call me today, text me, some of them I know, some of them I don't regarding swimming. And I want to clarify my position on the swimming. You want to go out there and swim, fine. You want to, and how it came up, because I don't know why. I'm not opposed to people swimming. I want to tell you that knowing that river and from a kid, watching people be pulled out of that river, and we were told, and I still understand that to be the truth today, that the strong undercurrent in that river is a killer. That's, and when I saw kids, young, and I don't have none, but young 12 kids jumping off that bridge, I said, slowly go down and hit them. So I raised the question. I think that for me, thinking about it, because people continue to want to swim in there, fine. Let's absolve the county, the township, from any responsibility if they swim in. And I think the way to do that is you swim at your own peril or what have you, and put a squid in it, and the city, town's not responsible. Have a good swim. Enjoy yourself.
Councilperson Lumpkin.
I also had multiple people, neighbors, constituents reach out to me on this issue. They're all in favor of allowing swimming. I just feel that there should be appropriate signage stating the dangers of the undercurrents, no lifeguard on duty, swim at your own risk.
Councilperson Fletcher.
And I feel the same way. I have two constituents to reach out to me, after we left from here and we were talking about the no swimming. I have written down anyway that, it should be at your own risk. Because we shouldn't be held liable for anything that somebody wants to do. And I also have seen it when, at the different events, the canoe jaws, I seen people out there actually swimming too. 4th of July, I seen a couple of people out there, so it should just be at your own risk. But I worry about the children that do go down there and no adult is around. But that's on their parents who allow them to go, and they're out there.
Is there anything else on those signs that you would decide that swim at your own risk, or all visitors assume
Didn't we talk about
Risk?
where they should
their
go?
own risk? Is that
Yeah.
how we talked to insurance company?
Visitors assume all risk.
Visitors assume all risk. Okay. Anything else on this sign? Because we need to get signs, according to our
I think we
insurance
should have
company.
something
We need to have signs that
that talks about a
direct.
vessel
Yeah.
that's sitting there. If your boat is there, you're responsible for whoever's on your own. boat.
on your own vest, okay. And anything else that you agree, because the committee sent this sign to us to take a look at, and,
I thought
because a
we
lot
talked
of-
about Something.
yeah, a lot of the marinas in the towns they visited had signs that had similar, directions there. So, anything else that you think should be on those signs, because Randy, you can Give
All they
the
gotta do is say what they want
Say
to
what you
Andy,
want.
send it to Candace or Andy, and then I'll have the signs made. I'll put 3 in Burke Park, 3 in Sturgis Park, and 2 at Gateway.
Okay,
That's what we had discussed or whatever, so.
I just recall, one of your draft ordinances has some of these like prohibitions in it. So the sort of the intent was, you pass the ordinance and then your sign would be reflective of your ordinance.
Of your ordinance?
Yeah, your larger sign, like this Nanaco sign. What staff had been talking about to do in advance of all this, because obviously all of this takes time, and we're speaking tonight about how it's gonna take a little longer time, and that's fine, was putting up signage now that said no diving or swimming or jumping from town property, docks, bulkheads, piers. So that's the direction that staff had discussed with me. So you guys need to decide if that is still what you're talking about. People can go swim in the river, you do whatever they want, just not from town property.
not from town.
Is that still?
Is that what?
Can't do that.
Excuse me. Wait for public
Okay,
comment.
wait till public comment.
I just need clarity. Is that what you want? Because that is where your staff has been going with it, and that's the signs that were going to be produced.
How do you enforce it?
I think they should be able to swim from the dock.
As long as you have visitors, assume all risk.
Swimming turn this.
I think that's a different
that-
protection from a legal liability of a lesser level than that what we were discussing.
Maryland is a contributory negligent state.
Absolutely.
And what,
And the river would present an opening obvious danger. The river.
so explain that a little bit. And I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Contributory negligence means that if you are at least 1% at fault for contributing to your own injury,
Then
you
you-
cannot seek compensation.
Right. At 1%, right? Is
Yep.
that correct? I
Maryland's
mean, I've
one of
read
5
that.
states that has that.
Yeah, most
One of
states,
5?
most states have switched to comparative.
Imperative.
Yeah. But what I will say is that does not prevent anybody from suing the local government.
No.
No.
I'm not the local government claims tort. Okay, thank you.
And if we say town property, you're saying that's a higher level of coverage?
I think that might be something that we need to talk about privately.
Okay,
As an invitee versus a licensee
okay,
versus
Versus-
passer.
all right.
That wasn't staff recommending that. That was the council at the last
That-
meeting.
That's
That-
correct.
Yeah.
So that
That's
wasn't the
correct.
staff.
And after
That was
feedback from
council.
the.
That was the
community-
council at the
I'm
last
just
meeting.
clarifying, correct.
Because
That was
I
not
heard
staff.
those ones.
Yeah.
You change it.
But we've got input.
No, I'm just
and so
clarifying.
we're going, yeah.
Yep.
Allowing-
Okay, so anything else that you want on these signs? We need to follow the ordinance. Is that what you're saying? What we put in our ordinance,
You were linking them, so you had your ordinance and then things from the ordinance were going to be on this larger sign that had like a larger list of rules, which you knew was gonna take more time. You wanted something more immediate, which was the direction from last week. Which is a different sign. It's just a sign dealing with that particular issue that you can put up now, period. That larger sign's gonna take time if you needs to.
it's going to take time.
Yeah.
So, but we could put up an immediate one now. Okay. Anything else you would like on that sign? Exactly what are you telling me now? Councilperson Lumpkins, tell me what you just said, what you think should be on it.
I think that you should allow someone with that.
So how do you want that stated?
So I would have it stated as, swim at your own risk,
Okay,
dangerous currents. No lifeguard on duty, because I don't want people to, and I say that because obviously there's no lifeguard on duty, but I don't want people to have the false sense that because of the camera system that the police have, that somebody is monitoring that and watching them in the river. They're not.
Councilperson Fletcher? What are your thoughts on that? What do you want on the sign? Are you in favor of Councilperson Lumpkins? Swim at your own risk. Councilperson Lee? Okay. Chief, can you add anything else into the,
Well,
strictly from a safety perspective, it concerns me now that we're gonna have people swimming. We have no enforcement action. We can't take them out of the water. Even if there was an ordinance, we wouldn't have the enforcement action, but there's a reason you can't swim at Pocomoke, you can't swim at Shad, and you can't swim at Mobiles. So there's that liability that is certainly gonna be a concern. And our officers aren't trained to do water rescue. Our fire department's gonna be here, they're great, but they're 5 to 6 minutes out if someone is drowned. So we're gonna do our best, if we get a call. I shared my concerns with Mr. Lee, when we have 10 or 12-year-olds swimming, it concerns me. I don't know if parents know they're down there. It's a safety issue for us, but we do have cameras down there, and they would be for, obviously, after the fact, trying to get a head count. So I have concerns about allowing swimming, but I'm in the minority here, so.
Okay. Mr. Pollard, anything about the currents, or you had some research?
Well, we have tried to find some definitive information about the underwater currents. We look at the surface, it looks very calm and peaceful most of the time, but we've heard stories about the currents once you get down far enough, could be very dangerous. Also concerns about how black the river is, that if you get a certain underwater, a certain depth, you lose all sense of space and perspective. You don't know up and down. That could add to it. But my only concern, I just want to say for the record, just to have the comment made, and I don't think we're splitting hairs. And if the swim at your own risk covers this, that's fine too. I've had a little concern about climbing up on the rails at the dock and jumping off the top of the rail, because it's so easy to see somebody's foot slip on a puddle, get their ankle caught in the rails, fall and break their leg or something, or even slip and fall and knock themselves out and fall in the river. I'm no problem, whatever. People have been in this community for 400 years. They've swum in that river since before then. But I'm concerned about climbing up on town equipment and jumping in, and the increased likelihood of some sort of accident that could hurt a child. And I'm concerned about that, as the chief says, from a safety aspect. But again, if the swim at your own risk, if that includes jumping and diving and all of that, I also want the town to have the utmost protection from a legal liability standpoint.
Okay. All right, good. Good.
I think I'll have to say, saying swim at your own risk sounds like an encouragement. And, if you would want my advice on what would protect the town most, this wouldn't be it. You're never gonna get me to say that would protect you the most. But that's your decision to make. Yeah.
Okay. All right, council, anything else right now?
Contributory liability would not apply to a person under 5, correct?
I'd have to verify what applies under the Local Government Tort Claims Act.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Maybe next work session, we need to delve into this a little more. And get some. Sure. All right, we got 2 other things. Let's go on to number 3, cannabis reinvestment and repair grant opportunity. Councilperson Fletcher. You inquired about this. What questions do you have?
I have a question.
You need any background on this grant, or did you get out all the information you needed?
I was reading it, but I would like some background. If any, background.
Larissa probably knows more about the grant opportunity. We were contacted some time ago by the county making this fund available. And we've been talking at our level as to what is the most likely project that's shovel ready and needs the assisted boost that this cannabis money could reach. And so we've got a recommendation on how to use it. As far as the origins of the grant, it's basically based on the cannabis revenue that's coming into the county, and they want to share it with the communities. And but I think I understood it was $1 million for the whole county, maybe. Right.
One person I do know would be allotted for a certain amount of money.
Well, our recommendation is because there's been so much time, effort and money invested in the Bank Street Promenade project. You know, we've done so much already. We budgeted money. We were not able to get the full budget amount. We've applied for grants. We're able to get the full grant amount. We've got so much buy-in from the county, actually agreed to donate property to the town so that we could straighten Bank Street, make it even on both sides. In fact, we've just today received a subdivision application from the county to go to our planning commission to start that process of getting the property transferred. We met with the representatives from Comcast, Verizon, and Delmarva Power about the idea of burying all the power lines underground. And we really thought we were wasting our time, but it turned out that what they talked to us about seems doable. And so we've put together a plan of building on what we've already spent and done with Bank Street for a total of about $350,000. And it's going to be our recommendation that we apply to the county for this, through this cannabis grant, to finish out Bank Street.
May I interject,
Please,
please? So in terms of this grant, is essentially they're looking for something that is shovel ready. It is, as Mr. Paulette mentioned, about $1 million in total. So part of the grant guidance is that they're looking for scalable or smaller amounts of money. The Bank Street project is roughly $1.16 million. That incorporates utility burial, that full amount there. As Mr. Paulette mentioned, at first we were not pursuing utility burial just because we thought that it would not be attainable. But then we got an initial estimate from Delmarva Power, from Comcast, from Verizon, and it was astronomical. And then we brought them on site. We shared the plan. We talked about the community benefit and the investment that we expect is going to result from this project. And Delmarva Power, which was the highest quote, actually reduced their cost by 75%. So we went from $400,000 quote to $100,000 quote. To do the utility burial with Delmarva Power, Comcast, and Verizon, and provide the conduit with which the lines, get buried. We're looking at about $300,000. And then there is a remaining $50,000 that we've been trying to secure to cover the custom built benches. So that's where we get the $350,000. This is a project, as everybody here knows, that has had a tremendous amount of community input, has multiple state agency backing, including the county, who has not only provided money towards this project and has allowed us to allocate some of our the funding that we received from the county to this project, but also the land donation. So it's also worth mentioning that the other projects that we did discuss, because we did discuss a number of other projects for this money, are not ready. They're not shovel ready. They would require additional engineering to kind of look at the whole scope of the project. And most of those, in fact, all of those projects would come in well above the $350,000 mark. So that's why we are recommending that Bank Street be the applicant for this project. Or I'm sorry, for this funding.
And if I may, counsel, and to the community, I want you to hear me. That's why the 2025 comprehensive plan is so important to this community. Because all the money that comes in now is being geared by the administration to secondary projects. You, this total community, and I'm not opposed to, let's understand this. I work with and support consistently on a day-to-day basis, Snow Hill and where it is. But we gotta turn this situation around in terms of the development needs in this community that's gonna raise the whole community standards and image. I hear her. I hear him. If there's money available and we've spent all this time and stuff, then that's the place to go. It makes sense. It makes common sense. But it doesn't solve the problem that the neglected or the less fortunate in people can benefit by. And that's my argument. I'm gonna stand on that until doomsday. Because we're looking now, and I've asked, when is it gonna start? I'm looking now at a 27-year project that has been postponed, that basketball court over there, 27 years.
Mr. Lee, sorry to interrupt you, but as reading this, I read the application process and the application, some of it. That was my number one thing, or trying to find somewhere to make a community center for the whole town, Snow Hill. So that's why I brought up this.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I had a
Knowing
question about.
Yeah,
Okay.
knowing how you think, I'm sure that's because, but I wanna amplify, what all I'm doing is amplifying. And it comes down to it, because I'm gonna say this, because I've got the floor. Our 2010 comprehensive plan was sabotaged. Those of us who worked on it, we didn't get in the final analysis, when the report came out, what the community said they wanted. That's why we're in this situation. But working together and understanding where we are, we're gonna make the correction. So don't interpret, please, or misinterpret what we're saying.
Right, any other comments about the grant? Councilperson Fletcher, you wanted this. Anything else?
So, is that the only thing that our town has thought of? I know it was in your report that you were gonna have a meeting about, so was that the only idea that was brought up?
We
from
talked
the
about,
staff?
as Councilman Lee says, there's any number of needs. The thing that makes this grant opportunity as attractive as it is and such a good match for the Bank Street is that they're all happening now. You know, we've already invested hugely in the Bank Street project. We don't have enough money to finish it. So if we're gonna justify the investment we've already made and bring that project to conclusion, here is the ready solution. There's no guarantee we're gonna get it. But this was what we were thinking would be the best use of the money that's available now. Understanding that there's all these other needs, but we're also always looking for the opportunities to address those as well.
What she's asking is the question I continue to ask you, is what is your plan? What is the plan if you don't live downtown? And I don't think it's fair, maybe even for me to ask you that when I really think about it, because that's the comprehensive plan. This community has to make that decision. And we are on the precipice, hopefully very soon, of getting to start that process. And then that process is gonna take a couple of years to even get there to complete the plan.
Well, and that's the thing that Ms. McAllister mentioned. So many of the other projects we're talking about, whether it's flooding in Bird Park, whether it's re-engineering the basketball courts and relocating them, whether it's trying to build from scratch or rehab an existing structure for a community center, all of those things are going to take substantial planning. They're going to take some engineering costs that we don't have right now and probably would not be identified in time to take advantage of this grant. This grant, in our recommendation, is all based on timing, and it's based on trying to finish a project we've already agreed that is a priority for us. And so that's simply, it's very, doesn't discount anything that you suggested. In fact, I agree with everything you suggested. This is about time, about what's available, what we've committed to, and how we can finish it.
Yeah. Councilperson.
And the deadline is August 30th.
31st, something like that.
31st. And go ahead.
And and then I do think that the Bank Street project could be an important asset because it's almost like an entrance, kind of like Disneyland has, it funnels you into downtown and hopefully it would bring more traffic. It'd be something that if you stood on the landscape and you looked out at it, this would say to me, oh, go this direction and you will find stuff. Yeah. So in that vein, I would like to see it completed and brought to fruition. Now, there are a lot of other ideas and I think we should dream big on other projects, but if the deadline's August 30th, then let's bring this thing to fruition.
Marissa, yes.
So this grant was announced mid-June, and we had no idea that it was coming. So we did not have a lot of preparation time. That's first and foremost. The second is that, part of the application process, you have to outline the project, you have to have all your supporting documents. If it's a community center, you have to have a plan who's going to operate at, how it's going to be operated, all of it, and that's for any project. You have to really make sure that the project is thoroughly vetted. I will say that the Bank Street project is founded, in both practical use, right? I mean, it was spurred from COVID and when, part of Bank Street was closed down for Riverview Square, but it is 100% founded in the planning documents that date all the way back to the 80s. So that is the downtown development plan from the 80s. That is our strategic revitalization plan. That is our comp plan. That talks about, enhancing the riverfront. The strategic revitalization plan and the Sturgis Park master plan both specifically talk about Bank Street, and utilizing that, as an attraction. It also talks about connectivity. So when I mentioned earlier about having, the multiple destinations, talks all about, connecting those parks with greenways and bikeways, which this is because of all of the pedestrian enhancements and safety enhancements. This is the kickstart to our bikeways plan. So this is essentially the preliminary first phase of bikeways that we can then start leveraging when we're looking at the different segments to be able to secure additional grant money because we are connecting to these destinations. So altogether, I mean, when you look at it holistically, it kind of ticks every single box. And, we hope, we assume that this grant will become available again, as will other grants. So when we're looking at things like Bird Park flooding or basketball courts or any other project, the sooner that we can get, the engineering done for that and the assessments done for that, then we all of a sudden have shovel-ready projects.
Other questions, council?
I'm good.
Good? Mr. Lee, good? Councilperson Fletcher,
Okay.
you good? All right, number 4, update on Willow Street project. And if you take a look in your packet, Mr. Pollock, can you, tell us a little bit about where we are with that now?
Yes, it's been over 2 years since the mayor and council declared the property that the town owns on Willow Street as surplus. One of the first meetings I attended when I came on board almost 4 years ago was with a prospective developer of the property who was interested in saving the building and restoring it to its past glory and recognizing the value that it held as a historic site. Granted to the building codes and all of the requirements for remodeling the house or even putting it back in useful form. And basically, we've not been able to find anyone who was equipped or had any plan to make use of the property. The property is shared by the town who has a lift station, a sewer lift station, the back of the land. So over time, we approached the African American Heritage Society of Snow Hill about their interest in possibly acquiring the property and using it again as some sort of marker or memorial for the African American heritage, especially along the riverfront with the canning industries and the housing that went along with the industries way back when. We've had several conversations with Dr. Blake and her team. They came to a meeting probably a year ago now with a proposal. And then it's sort of stagnated. I know they've gone in other directions, but they're still interested in the property. Where we are today is that the town has had the property appraised. It's appraised for $12,500. We've had 2 estimates for demolition. And the concern as it sits now is that the house is in a terrible condition. We're getting reports of people breaking in, sleeping in it, doing whatever else they want to do in it. It's a hazard. So we went back to the African American Heritage Society and asked them if they still were interested in the property. Dr. Blake replied they were, and she sent me a list of questions. I replied to her questions, and you have
We
copies
have
of
the
that.
packet.
And that was a week ago, this past Friday. We haven't heard anything from them since. Basically, what we had suggested was that if they would take on the chore of demolishing the building, thinking it's going to be close to the lower estimate, then the town can see about making some sort of arrangement for them to acquire the property. Even so, our surplus property code requires that before we can do anything, we have to have a public hearing. If we have a deal on the table, whether somebody would buy it, if they wanted to accept it, tear the building down, we have to have a public hearing. And then we'll go through the ordinance process to actually take the deal forward to settlement. And so right now, our concern is that as long as that building stands as it is, it represents a serious safety risk to the community.
Yes.
And our purpose
And
of
the
bringing,
neighbors.
and the neighbors. And so our purpose of bringing it forward tonight was to get some direction from the mayor and council as to should we go ahead now and demolish it ourselves, to make the building safe, and then continue whatever discussions we have with the Heritage Society. It could be that a vacant property without the building might attract other interest if we put it out. So we don't know. Our main concern right now, again, is the safety and condition of the building. And we feel like we should have some direction to tear the building down, rather than wait any longer for a deal that may or may not come.
So how long has Heritage had this information?
We sent it a week ago
A week
Friday.
ago.
Could be 2 weeks this coming Friday.
Okay. So they've got their answers and, we're kind of waiting on what their response is. Okay.
I think they understand that they won't keep the building. So whether, I think the question on the demolition is not if, but when.
Mhm.
And if we want to wait and give them more time about acquiring the property, we're still confronted with this derelict building that's a problem, it's a hazard.
Okay. All right, council comments. Councilperson Lee?
I would recommend that, this has been before and it's critical. I would recommend that you send them a certified letter. That council, I would recommend a certified letter be sent, giving them X amount of time to respond to the certified letter. And at that time, whatever time that you feel is reasonable, at the end of that time, to move forward, to take the building down.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Councilperson Fletcher?
Yes, they.
We can do that.
We can do that.
Great.
Do you want to tell me a time? How long you want to give them?
2 weeks, I hear.
That's what I was getting ready.
2 weeks?
This week.
We're all
Give it time for the mail. Then they'll have to reach out if they don't get it in time.
We'll
Okay.
do that. Thank
2
you very
weeks.
much. Thank you.
Okay.
But
you.
they would have numbers if you get it out tomorrow. But then the weekend it would be in the mail and then they would have your.
Yep. We can get that.
Okay. All right. Comments from the public. 3 minutes. Are we, council, in 3 minutes, is Dan handling that?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? Robert or whoever. Margaret says she'll do it. Okay, Olga, you're up.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Olga Fields. I live on 102 East Parkman Street here in Snow Hill. I've been a resident of this town since 2008, and I love this town and being part of the Downtown Snow Hill Inc. I think shows it. I've been a member of the team for years and I've been member of the board for over a year now. And I am personally greatly invested in this town becoming better and more prosperable for everybody who lives here and everybody who visits. They should feel welcome and they should feel like they want to come back and they want to invite their friends to come back. And in regards to the docking, ever since I moved here, there have been long-term docked boats in Sturgis Park, and that does not feel welcome to me. Honestly, it does obstruct my view of the river as a person who wants to enjoy it, whether it's during the event or not. My personal opinion, short-term docking is very reasonable. Boat owners who are exploring the river should be welcome to come and dock during the day or during the week. But if it is a renewable agreement that lets them expand that docking for a whole season or for a whole year, I am against that. Maybe there should be a limit on how many times they can renew a weekly agreement. I don't know. It is just my idea, my opinion. I am concerned about the condition of the bulkhead now that I hear the reports. And I want to thank the committee for putting together. It's a very comprehensive report for the Port of Snow Hill Committee. I do agree about the signage that should include not only swimming, maybe not at your own risk, but specify that if you do swim, I am for swimming. I would want to know how many people have suffered from drowning in the last 10, 20 years to see how, yeah, I see the time.
No, I meant 4 years. I mean, 4 people.
4 people in the last
40
20
to
years.
choose.
Yeah, so it's like,
One's too many.
people should be able to swim, I agree with the council. And people should be able to dock and our events should be conducted at Sturgis Park without obstruction of the events or the view of the events in the river.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
much. Jordan.
How are you doing, guys?
Good.
My name is Jordan Boha. I live at 218 South Washington Street. I just want to say, first off, I'm gonna make this short. 300 years people have been swimming in that river. The research I've done, it's been decades since somebody has drowned on their own in that river in our Snow Hill stretch. I could be wrong, but what I looked up, that's what I found as far as off of our direct shores. You're more likely to get hurt on the sidewalks in Snow Hill than in the river. I think you take away the swimming in Snow Hill and you're taking away a lot of what the locals really enjoy. We go down there, we paddleboard, we kayak. You're gonna be in the river when you're doing that, and we don't want to get fined for it. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Jacob.
Hello, my name is Jacob Larson. I live just right behind downtown, 303 Washington. I had a lovely speech prepared, but after hearing everything, I think we kind of beat that dead horse, so I don't think I have need to repeat a lot of things that have already been said here. A couple of things I just sort of want to mention. You're talking about the signage. I was curious about this issue, so I actually took a look at Public Landing to see how they handle, the signage and swimming, down there. And I noticed they've got, some signs posted out there, and they've basically done kind of what you guys already discussed. They identified the hazards and then had a legal statement in there. And specifically, they have, water shoes recommended, no jumping or diving off piers, stay off rocks. Swimming should be avoided 48 hours after a flood event and swim at your own risk. Those hazards are unique to that area, obviously. So, but I think I like their approach that we should, allow swimming, but I think we should educate people and make people aware of the public. And in that same regard, we're talking about the swimming from town property. I think an important thing to realize is that the town property is the safest place to enter and exit the river. So we've got floating docks there, we've got ladders going into the water, there's life preservers, set up at multiple points there. So if people are gonna be swimming in the river, if it's banned from public property, it's gonna push people, to other unsafe spots. Where we've already got the safest places to enter next to the river, right on those properties. So we should encourage people to enter next to the river at those spots where the safety considerations are already in place. And I think we pretty much covered everything else, so I appreciate your time.
Thank you
guys.
very much. Jenny. Jenny Donwan.
It's my chair.
Come on out.
I am Jenny Dunaway. I live in Osmongo Hills, and my husband and I own the Pocomoke River Canoe Company together with Barry Laws. So it's obviously important to us that the river remain valued and accessible. And lots of people swim right off our dock, and we share the safety concerns for sure. We have a camera at our door that faces the river for our own security, and at night there are kids out there who are unattended, and so we understand the risk and agree that there should be signs. But I just think it's important, we think it's important that swimming continue. And I did look at my ChatGPT while we were talking about signs, and if you just ask some questions that are very specific about this, and I don't have to tell anyone lawyerly about this, but they came up with some great ideas about the way to word those signs, and how to word them effective in not a negative way.
Thank you. Alvin? Colin, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon. My son Oliver is one of the kids. He's 12. He uses and swims and fishes in the river every day. It's one of the reasons why we came to Snow Hill. Like Larissa mentioned, it's an enormous asset. When our kids were 3 or 4 or 5, even going up to 7, we wouldn't let them go down there unattended. But I think as a parent, you just have to make that best decision for yourself, for your own child. And I certainly, if to take away public access, Snow Hill, the town really owns all the public waterfront property, gateways, birds, sturgeons. To take that away, I think you'd be taking an enormous asset away from the community and the ability to recreate in the river. I have no issues with putting restrictions on diving or jumping off the piers or even swimming after a certain time. I have no issues with that, but to take away, my son or my daughter's enjoyment of the river, if they want to go down there and fish and hop in to cool off and play around. And I think you all understand that and come to reason that to permit that access is very important for the community. So I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Diana Nolte.
Diana Nolte, 5455 Market Street, in the business at 112. I was going to talk about swimming, but I'll back up just a little bit about the docking ordinance. I do think we need an updated docking ordinance, and we do need to raise the prices. And I'm speaking as somebody who will be impacted because my husband's boat's still at Game Park. Just on that note, long-term liveaboard conditions should be more like what they have at Shed Landing with pull-in slots, fuel dock, showers, pump out stations, bulkhead docking for long-term liveaboard is very inefficient. And I'm speaking with somebody who lived aboard for a long time. The river is our pride and joy, and we need to have a positive image around it, please. My husband got so frustrated when people would use folklore and legend to make the river into a dangerous place, because during polio, people didn't learn how to swim. They stayed away from the water, and my parents' generation cultivated an atmosphere of fear around that river. And I don't think that's any longer appropriate. Our whole family boats, fishes, swims in that river. And the big thing is, let's teach everybody how to swim. There's swimming lessons down at Shad. We should be getting everybody who doesn't know how to swim down there and teach them how to swim. We've talked about subsidizing buses to get kids to swimming lessons wherever they happen to be. We live by water in every single direction you go here. All of our adults and kids need to learn how to swim. River is not a killer. I agree, our sidewalks are probably a big. Yes. Good job. Thank you. Kevin Brown. See Kevin?
My name is Kevin Brown, and it's great to see you guys again. I'm at 4852 Washington Street here in Snow Hill. My main concern is with the condition of the bulkhead. I made that a high priority, even though this is a very well-written final report. My feelings and my public safety aspect of things did not come out at all in this report, hardly. That bulkhead is failing. That bulkhead is dangerous up and down that almost entire area. When you have trees now growing out of the sheathing of the bulkhead, the sheathing consists of piling. The condition of the piling is unknown because of the height of the water. Unless you get down there or catch it real low tide, you don't know the condition of the piling. The sheathing, the boards are opening up, and they're opening up due to all the vegetation that's growing through that bulkhead. That bulkhead has moved since I've been here, and I've seen it. And I can look down that river. If you stand on that bridge and you look down that bulkhead, you can see obviously where that is meandering back and forth. I think there's a wall that's possibly failing at Sturgis under the pavilion. These kind of things cannot go neglected. My position with the town of Ocean City was to make sure that every homeowner in Ocean City on a canal that had a bulkhead maintain that bulkhead. If I didn't condemn one, I condemned thousands, and were ordered to repair those bulkheads immediately. My suggestion to you folks would speak with the attorney. She's going to be your best friend right now, because I'm afraid, if an accident happens, somebody's going to pay for it. Look at the condition of that bulkhead. Get somebody in here engineering wise to analyze that bulkhead in its entirety from, let's say, the bank. And furthermore, the ramp that used to go to the boat, that's a dead end ramp. You just fall at the end of it. There's no rail to stop anybody from going right on the end of it. The boards need to be maintained. I would suggest replacing the boards. But wholeheartedly, I think the entire bulkhead should be replaced. I think that this, Mr. Lee, my hat's off to you. I do think that this should be reconsidered and talked about again, but from a public safety aspect and also with the visual concerns of the boats, I can see where this young lady has done one heck of a job in promoting that area. Those boats most definitely block the view.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Kevin. Okay, that's attend only and attend only. So we are finished. Okay, and thank you all. Maybe we should throw more hot topics out there. I love having all of you here. It's great to have your input. Thank you, and please keep coming. Okay, keep coming and letting us know how you feel. Council comments. Mr. Lee, you want to start?
I'm gonna read my comments in the limit. Now, passing out as far as they go, anybody wants, once we call you and get it, so we can pass it out. Anybody that has one. We have
Is this allowed right now? I think you better call me.
Hold it. You know back.
No, okay.
Right here.
They're here.
Give them back, please.
She just told me it's not on the agenda, and if it's not on the agenda, you can't talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay, councilperson Lumpkin?
Really looking for the blessing of combine. Hope y'all come out there.
Yes. Chief, can you give us some direction for blessing for the council? Do we need to meet you somewhere?
Let's say 10:30 at Washington Street. or
10.
Washington Street.
10:30.
Yep.
And council, I have to give a welcoming, little speech, and I would love for all of you to be there with me. If you can make it. So
And be in the
driving in.
parade. And be in the parade.
Yeah, they're gonna be with the chief, absolutely. And when we get, I think Mr. Lee was there last year. But everybody can ride with the chief in the parade, and then if you would, accompany me at the stand to speak, I would love it. So just let me know if that's something, but please, everybody else come to the blessings. I know it's countdown time for the blessings, and we're all getting ready, right? Diana Nolte, are you ready? She's talking. She said, yeah. Okay, she said, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
And First Friday, we're looking forward to First Friday. It's the farm theme. I think Tides of Vine started the farm theme also. And, we're all into Ag Week, and we're gonna have a great time. So, thank you. Thanks, Councilperson Fletcher.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out, and they just took all my comments.
No, okay.
Okay.
All right,
We're all on one accord.
I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting
Yes.